You're listening to another episode of Honor Best Behavior. And today I'm going to call you my good friend now, Zach. My good friend, Zach Dillon
I like
from
that title.
Cities 97.
Yeah, Cities 97.1. Yeah, look at you with your little microphone right there. I got one too.
What you looking at? See? Makes me
Uh,
feel more like official.
it's been a long time since I've seen you, Kelly. Everything's going good. I mean, your podcast, I keep seeing you pop up on my social, and I'm like, oh, look at that, new episode. And yeah, I think the other week you were doing like a police chief or something like that.
Yeah, that was fun.
See, I see the stuff.
That warms my heart, Zach.
I'm paying attention. It's tough. Sometimes it's tough, like especially when I'm on the radio and I tell people that I'll follow them back from like if they follow me. People love that, but it's like the more people I follow, the tougher it is to see everybody's stuff that they post. So someone will be like, "Hey, did you see my thing?" And I'm like,
Maybe.
"Yeah, maybe." But I've definitely seen your stuff, Kelly. So something's working.
I love it. I love it. So what I want to know, Zach, is what has been going on with you? You've had some changes, like Cities 97. I talked to you one day, KDWB. Tell me
Yeah.
about that.
Well, as you know, and probably a lot of people watching this, a lot of people from the Twin Cities. I mean, for the last almost 8 years, I've done afternoons on KDWB. I'm the assistant program director, the music director, and so a lot of other things outside of the on-air stuff. The company approached me and wanted me to do my own show again, and so we launched the Zach Dillon Show on Cities 97.1, and we did that back a few months ago. At this point, again, time's flying by for me, and I'm just like it's already been 3 months of the Zach Dillon Show, and so it's been really cool because it's given me a chance to be creative with my own show and kind of do things. And a lot of the audience has followed me, obviously, and they love it. And there's some people that it's funny because some people just get so stuck in their ways of like radio stations that they grew up with and radio stations that they always listen to. And there's some people that didn't even know Cities 97.1 existed. I mean, it was
Sad.
crazy. It's like, wow, I've never listened to this station before. Like, it actually is a really great radio station. I'm glad you're on this station. I'm going to listen more often. And so that's cool to see. And the support of people when I left KDWB, because I'm still on it. Like I'm still like I still do a weekend show because I still want to have my finger on the pulse there. I'm still the assistant program director. I'm still the music director. In fact, they've added me as the assistant program director now on Cities. So
Nice.
I'm the assistant program director of both stations, music director at KDWB. So I definitely have my hands full, and I have my hands on that station and Cities, and it's just been good. It's obviously a little bit different music, but a lot crosses over, right? Like we're still playing the Taylor Swifts. We're still playing the Ed Sheerans. It's just obviously like the more softer stuff. But the feedback's been great. I think it was like a week in. This woman called me and she says, "I got to tell you." She says, "I've been listening to Cities 97.1 for many years. I have all of the samplers. Me and my brother, we used to go out to Target. We used to get the CDs every time that they came out. For those that don't know, the CD that I'm talking about is the sampler. It's Cities has done it for many years. We don't do it anymore, but used to go to a great cause and it'd be all of like our Studio C mixes and
And I
really awesome
remember people would like
instruments.
get there early on
Oh,
the release day and there would be a line out the door to get that.
it was madness. It was like a
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, release or something like that. Our very own local one. And so she was just like, me and my brother, we used to go and we used to, get in line and get there early and get all the samplers. I've been a big fan of Cities for many years. And I want to tell you something that you and your show, just of what I've heard so far, and you and your personality and the way you have about you, she says, you're a breath of fresh air. Like I'm so happy you're on this radio station, and I'm finding myself like finding ways in my day to listen to the radio when normally I wouldn't do that. I would just normally just have it on like if I'm in the car or whatever, but I'm finding ways to tune in because of how much I'm liking the show. And I'm like, that's crazy from someone who like probably doesn't listen to KDWB, right? Like probably not, obviously she's like a big Cities listener. And so like the fact that here I come in and to the Cities audience, I'm fairly unknown. I mean, to the city, people know me, but like if you just listen to Cities and you don't go over to KDWB, maybe there were people obviously that didn't know me. But like for this woman, maybe she didn't know me beforehand and she really got attached to the show pretty quickly, which is awesome. I mean, that's what you want to hear, right? You don't want people hate mailing going, "Who's Zach Dillon? This guy sucks." So it was none of that. Every comment was positive, and that made me really feel good, because you never know when you do things like this, from the company's side of things, but also from my side too, because it's important to me that people are enjoying what I'm putting out there, and that people are becoming a fan of cities now, and if they weren't, and that they're listening to the show, so it's cool.
Yeah, and it's rewarding. Like you have people who, like you said, people who follow you from KDWB. So like now Cities has those listeners.
Right.
Plus, when you get new people who, like you said, like you, that are diehard Cities fans, and they're like, "Hey, we like this guy now,"
Yeah. It's a cool
I
thing
totally
to
get
see
that.
for sure, because sometimes you never know when that type of stuff happens, when you switch radio stations and you fill the shoes of someone else that had been there for a bit, and it's like, there's people that are sad about that part and they can't get over it, and that, but there was none of that. It was just really cool to just ease in really nicely, and see the feedback, the positive feedback almost immediately. Was awesome. So
And I think you do such a good job as a solo show. Like you're really, the way you talk and the things that you talk about, and you have a very soothing yet exciting voice. Like you can do both things. And I think that's a
right.
really good fit for Cities 97.
Well,
Wait,
thank you.
one.
I appreciate that.
So what I was
You
thinking,
you didn't
go ahead.
have to make kind comments to me on this, I
Well,
mean,
I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it, Zach.
I know,
This
I
is
know.
my show, remember?
That's right. That's right. We're
And I
doing
wouldn't
what
have
you want.
I wouldn't have had you on the show if I didn't love and appreciate who you are and what you do. I mean, that's how
Yeah.
I know you, is from the radio as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it means a lot.
So before we connected, I was trying to shove a Hot Pocket down my throat because I was so hungry, and it made me
Yeah.
think about your eating schedule. So somebody who has a show from 2 to 6, do you eat late? Do you guys eat as a family together at home, or do you just kind of like eat throughout your day, or how does
Yeah,
that
it
work?
it all depends. I mean, we're in the springtime now in Minnesota, and my daughter plays softball. My son plays baseball, and I so happen to be the assistant coach on both teams. I don't know
Yep.
how that happened. I mean, I guess your kids are only young once,
You
right? So
love
you.
baseball,
Oh, I
though.
love
So, I
baseball.
mean, it's
Yeah,
probably
and
hard to rope you into that.
well, and I couldn't just do my sons, because then my daughter would be like, "Well, that's not fair." So I had to sign up for my daughters too. But I love it, and so that kind of like determines when we eat dinner most nights. Because if there's not softball, there's baseball. If there's not baseball, there's softball. A lot of times it's both on the same night, so it's kind of juggling that. But the games are like 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., so I don't eat before that. So typically we'll go out like maybe afterwards, or have a late dinner together afterwards. But yeah, you're right. I mean, and the show, by the way, is 2 to 7, even
Oh
later.
my God. To even later.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah.
they
So on
sucked another hour out
KDWB,
of you.
well, on KDWB it was 1 to 6.
Oh, it was one? I thought
Yeah,
it
so
was
it's 5 hours,
two.
and so this is just an hour later on both ends, so two
Got
to
it.
seven instead of 1 to 6. But yeah, sometimes it's interesting, right? Like oftentimes I can have lunch with my wife before I leave, because I mean, sometimes I'm home at noon, and I'm able to have lunch and stuff. But yeah, that the whole till 7 part definitely fluctuates when we have dinner. It's not a normal schedule by any means. I feel like most families in America have like a set time range when they have dinner and stuff. That's not us. So, but it's okay. That's an okay. I guess they say not to eat after a certain hour, but sometimes I'm having dinner at like 9:30 at night, which is probably a no-no. But
When you eat all those onions, I mean, that's got to hold you over.
yeah, people give me crap about that, but I mean, I every time I'm googling all the benefits of onions, and it's like it's really good for your eyes, and there's a whole boatload of reasons why you should have onions, and so I try to have as many as I possibly can.
Are onions like garlic? Do they repel vampires?
Well, I have no vampires in my life, so I guess maybe they stay
It's
far
working
away.
for you.
Maybe. That's a great question, though. I don't want to ever find out.
With your work schedule, do you bring your kids to school?
I do.
You
Yeah,
do?
that's one of
Good.
my like. Ever since they were really really little. I mean, my son is 12 now, and my daughter's 10. They're still little, but like when they were really really little, we started that thing where, because when I grew up, my mom always brought me to school, and I enjoyed those moments.
Yeah.
Like around Christmas time, we'd play Christmas songs, and we'd start like singing Christmas carols in the car and stuff, just like whatever. And so I wanted that like special moment with my kids, even if it was for like 5 minutes, because we live actually pretty cool, pretty close to both their schools. My daughter's is even closer than my son's because my son's in middle school now. But yeah, I mean, I do like those moments because I'm not able to like pick them up and be with them after school. You know what I mean? So I don't have that as an option. So I definitely take advantage of um, bringing them to school. My daughter actually this year started riding the bus to school for a lot of it, and that kind of made me sad. I'm like, because what she started out by saying, I just want to try the bus,
Uh-oh.
and so she tried the bus, and of course all her friends in the neighborhood ride the bus, and so it was like never getting that back. And so she's like, well, why don't I do? And then the next thing was like, why don't I do 1 week bus? Then the next week you can bring me, and then I'll go back to the bus, bring back, And so, but that never happened, right? It was like she just took the bus, and then up until recently, she's really enjoyed. And there's only a few days left of school this year, but she's really enjoyed sleeping in, like
Oh,
even a
yes.
couple of extra minutes later. And so if you sleep in, you can't take the bus, right? Because the bus
Mm-hmm.
comes earlier. And so daddy's able to bring her again. So for the past couple of weeks, daddy has brought her every day. And so that's fun because it's like, again, it's only like 6 minutes together, but it's, I take advantage of that and talk to them about their day. And,
And it's 6
you
minutes
know,
of just like the two of you. So,
exactly, yeah. It
yeah.
used to be both kids because they would go to the same elementary school, but now like it's a separate drop off. So I drop off Avery and then I'll drop Jonah off because Jonah goes in a little bit later than her. So
I need to have a talk with my son Mac tonight because the past 2 mornings, his bus comes at like 7:08, and I
yeah,
wake up at 7 to go to get ready for work,
yeah.
and it's been 7:01, and I call downstairs and I'm like, Mac, are you up? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like,
Oh
it's
no,
7:01. Man, that kid can get ready and on that bus real fast.
really? Yeah. My son's actually so how old is he again? Your son?
15.
Okay. Yeah, my son's gotten into this routine where I'll wake him up and like he'll sleep until I say, Jonah, let's go. And he goes, I'm up, I'm up, I'm up.
That sounds
But
familiar. Yeah, I'm up.
if I forget, like, because I'm doing something, sometimes my wife isn't here in the morning and stuff. And so if I forget to like wake him up again, it's like it really takes a lot of time into him getting because he likes to shower. He's like that 12-year-old boy now. He puts on underarm deodorant and cologne and like has to brush his teeth after he has his
Does he do
breakfast. And
his,
I'm like,
is he worried about his hair or does he wear a hat?
they don't allow the kids to
No,
wear a hat. So yeah, I thought, which is kind of weird.
they
It's like,
do
oh,
now at where we live. So,
really?
yeah.
Well,
And I
I
think that's
guess,
crazy. It was a big deal when I was in high school. You couldn't wear a hat.
yeah. I mean, I'm the king of hats. I love
Yeah.
hats.
And you still
I
have your
mean,
pony? You still get rocking that pony? Yeah.
yep.
I was wondering if you were going to have cut it off by,
No, no. I mean, if it was up to my wife, it would have been cut already.
yeah, she's
Um,
really, you got a good
yeah,
one there. She's tolerating. I think it looks good. So,
thank you. But yeah, no, she wants me to get a haircut. I mean, she's even like, just you don't have to like cut it all off, just like for layering purposes. You know what I mean? For like the health of your hair purposes. I'm like, I don't know, I just want to keep growing it.
they do
But it's
say
also the
you
facial
trim
hair
it.
too. When that gets too long,
Yeah.
she'll definitely make me
She
shave
doesn't
it.
like
But hey, look,
I
happy
love
wife,
it.
happy life, right? It's such a
Yes.
stupid motto, but like it's
It's
true.
true.
Like,
It's
if
true.
if your wife is happy, all is good.
Well, if you do trim your hair, Zach, that does promote growth. So then it can get more long and luscious.
That's what she's been saying too.
Yeah. So you got to
Yeah.
give it a try.
I don't know. We'll see. I have bigger issues and bigger things to do in this world than to worry
Oh,
about
you're like,
cutting my hair. You know what
honey,
I
I don't
mean?
have time for a haircut.
Yeah. Well, mine actually, because that's actually false because men's haircut is like in and out, right? Where like when my wife gets her hair done, it's like an all day ordeal.
Yeah.
Like she's like, "Hey, I'm getting my hair done." It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. She's not home till like 4. Like, what the heck are they doing to your hair?
Oh,
And
it's hard being
it's
a
not
woman.
the cheapest either.
No,
Women's haircuts and colors and all that, it's like insane.
it is insane.
But you
What,
got to do it, right?
yeah, I don't. I just box dye my hair. I get my nails done. That's what I spend my money.
Oh,
That's my
okay. I
self-care thing
got you.
I
How
do. I
often do you
just
get your
box
nails
dye
done
my
then?
hair huh?
How often are you getting your nails done?
Just every 3 weeks. I try to stretch it out
Okay.
as far as I can. And then it was pouring rain, so now my hair is like I look like I was at an 80s party before I came here.
Hey, you could have been.
Could have been.
The
I mean, it
the
would have been
the
fun.
camera doesn't follow you around 24/7. We don't know what you were doing before this.
No, well, I can tell you something exciting. I also got a new job, and today was my first day.
Was it really?
Yes. And I
Wow.
didn't see
So
this coming. So this was a
what are you
surprise
doing
since we
now?
talked last. I'm doing the same kind of work, just at a different company.
Okay. And
So,
so
and
are
it
you
was
excited about,
lovely.
is it like, do you have to work from home or?
No, I don't work from home. I work in healthcare, so I have to take care of people.
Gotcha.
So I go in, but yeah, I was nervous because I am always nervous about change. And this wasn't anything I was seeking out. It kind of fell into my lap. So I was a little nervous, but it was lovely. I was so excited to go back tomorrow. So
Hey,
that's it.
all good things come to an end, right? And
Yeah.
it's sometimes change is necessary in life, and while at first it kind of is like uneasy and worrisome and all that, it's like, a lot of times it's what we need, it definitely helps.
So now when you go to your new job,
Yeah.
you commute to the same place, but then you just like go a few
Yeah.
doors down.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
literally, yeah. I mean, no pun intended with the artists that we play three doors down on. We play a lot of their songs, but yeah, no, it's like super quick. Like I've done lives on TikToks and stuff, and people are like, "So is it like the same like play?" I'm like, "It's lit. I could walk 20 feet, and I'm inside the KDWB studio. It's like just right down the hallway."
You could like knock
Um,
on the wall, like, hey, I'm over here.
yeah, right. Soundproof walls, though, so I mean, you may not hear me.
Oh, okay. I suppose that would be
Yeah.
bad if the other shows were leaking into your show.
Yeah, right. It's like, what is that noise? I don't know. The 7 other radio stations that we have there.
I know this morning when I was going to work, Justin, my boyfriend, was like, make sure that you don't take a right, take a left. Because you get so used to like going to the
Yeah.
same place every day.
So how long was your commute before?
7 miles.
So before it was 7 miles. Now how long is it?
1 mile.
No way. So you have to get like one of those like little scooter things.
I
Trade
know.
in your car, just get a scooter thing, and you're good.
He's like, do you want a bike for Mother's Day? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm that kind of person who would actually ride my bike, but I
I mean,
could.
1 mile, that's going to save on gas and
Oh, I know. And the way my
all
car,
that.
I'm going to turn in my car and they're going to be like, your car has 10,000 miles on it.
No kidding.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
does.
my one way is about 31 miles for me.
Really?
Yeah, so
Gross.
I'm definitely not getting a bike for Father's Day coming up.
It is hard. I was talking to some other people today and I'm like, I'm not really getting like my radio time in or my podcast listening time in with my commute being even shorter than it was. So
True,
I'm like,
yeah.
when am I going to fit all this stuff
No,
in?
and that's a true thing. Us radio stations during the pandemic when people weren't going to work, um, a lot of the listening comes from driving. And so we weren't having that. So like the whole thing was that like telling people while they were working from home or whatever they were doing while they weren't commuting that you could listen on Alexa and Google Home and all of that because you can. I mean, it has the iHeartRadio app interfaced on it. Basically, you just command it to listen to it. And um, but that was rough for a lot of people because you get so used to the ways that you do things and you just turn the radio on, you just listen, it's not like you're not used to telling Alexa to listen and that way. But, I think we ran so many of those promos like, hey, well, you're not
You can still
commuting.
listen. Yeah.
Make sure you listen because you can still listen. And so, I mean, I think everybody at this point, unless you're like the whole anti, having Alexa in your house, I think everybody's got some type of smart device in their home now. And
It's nice. I just got Alexa lights. And so now I'm like, Alexa, turn off the light in the
oh,
kitchen.
did
Because
you?
I was bitching so much at my family because I'm like, who was in the kitchen last? You didn't shut off the light. And so now I installed all these lights and they're like, we don't know if we like it. I'm like, well, maybe if you would have shut the light off when you were done, now I can just say from the couch, hey, Alexa, turn the light off. And they're like, I guess so. But it's
That's
great.
awesome.
You can do that to your
That's
whole
awesome.
house.
I didn't know
Yeah.
you could go that far. I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? That she could really do anything. I
She
mean,
can
we're
do it
going to
all.
turn into such a lazy society is what we're going to turn into. We're going to have her do everything for us. It's like, "Hey Alexa, make me a steak dinner." And she'll have everything
Yes.
all ready to go. She'll make it up, she'll bring it to you somehow, that little like you ever go to that hotel or whatever, the hotels and they've got those little like or like some fancy restaurant where it's
They have
got
those
the
robots that bring out your food.
robot that brings your thing
Yes.
out. It's like it's crazy. Like
Do you
I don't know. I
remember
mean,
do you remember the movie Wall-E?
of course.
they're all like obese and in those scooters and they like can't
Yep,
even like
I know.
move. That's
Well,
gonna
it's
be
crazy
America.
because it's like, the whole AI thing is just it's kind of getting a little bit scary in a way because you can take somebody's voice and you can have them say, jump in a studio and just like read a page full of stuff. And then you can take that voice and it can be an AI voice. So they literally can like speak in complete sentences and crack jokes and make like a paragraph of anything that you wanted to talk about in your voice, which is nuts because it's like, that's not me.
And it's
That's just
scary because a lot of scams were happening with that because they would use
scams.
that
Yep.
to call people and it sounded like somebody needed money and they recognized the voice and it wasn't even real.
Scams, but also like people losing their job because like if you can get an AI person, then like not in like
Yeah.
bigger cities. I think in bigger cities will be okay because like there's the whole like still like big thing with like being close to personalities on the radio, especially in Minneapolis. Like it's a
Hmm.
different city. Like people love their radio and their personalities and all of that. Like if you have like some AI guy, like they're not going to love that. You know what I mean? It's not real to them. But I think in like some of the smaller cities, like you take like I don't know, like Augusta, Maine, or I don't even know why that came to my head, but that's like a really small city. If you have a radio station there, why not get an AI? I mean, you're going to have a really great radio station because that guy's going to be on top of it. You know what I mean? Talking about things happening in town and talking about, relevant things to people, cracking jokes. I mean, they'll never know the difference.
What is it called when you like monetize a radio station? So like there's a word for it because Dave Ryan talks about it sometimes where you like you you might be in Minnesota, but your radio station is also in like Florida.
Oh, when monetize, you threw me off with the word monetizing.
I
You mean
know, I
just
don't
like voice tracking,
know.
like out of market?
I can't remember what
Um,
it's called something where like you have a show one place, but then they like also play it in a different city where they don't maybe
syn-
have a big city.
syndication.
Syndication. Yes, that's
Yeah.
it. Why wouldn't they just
Monetizing,
syndicate? Is it
syndication, a
too
little bit off there,
expensive
kid.
for those small towns?
Um,
AI would be cheaper.
yeah, I mean, like, Ryan Seacrest, like he's syndicated
Yeah,
and he's on in all the different markets, I mean, I'm not breaking any news to you, but he's not sitting in a studio in Minneapolis doing a show for Minneapolis, you know what I mean? Like
right.
he's syndicated. So, yeah, they do that with a lot of different personalities and especially in the smaller markets and stuff, but um yeah, that's been around for a bit, though. I mean, there's been some syndication in a lot of different cities and some of the bigger talent and stuff. Like, because if you can get somebody to, you know, have a main salary of this, right, and then you had all these people that had salaries, whatever, and then you can eliminate those basically and just add a little bit more to this, right? So then like it's a way to save companies money, right? Like
Right.
you're just taking one show and putting it in multiple different places, um, which is good for the person that is being syndicated, bad for other
That market of,
personalities that, yeah,
yeah.
right. So,
Yeah, if you're from
um,
that small town and you want to be that personality, then that's kind of taken away from you and you don't get that opportunity.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it depends on who's running the company and, what they want to ultimately, have their radio station stand for. I mean, I feel like a lot of like the small town radio stations still want to be live and local, which is an important part. Even in Minneapolis, like in Minneapolis, I'm always talking about things that are happening and that
Yes.
affect people here. Like tonight, I mean, there was severe weather, and I'm like talking about all the updates on severe weather. And there was, the National Weather Service. They issued a tornado watch, but it wasn't just a normal tornado watch. It was a PDS, potentially. Um, I forget what it stands for, but potential or
Potentially disastrous
no, it's
storm.
now I can't remember what it is. It's something, but the last time that they did it was like 2 years ago. So it's like it's not like your everyday tornado watch. And then I'm seeing like scenes from Des Moines, and there's like a tornado that's just like shredding houses.
Oh,
And that was
yikes.
today. It was earlier today, and I'm like, yikes! I mean, maybe this thing's moving up here. You just never know. Like, I'm okay when weather people are wrong because that's
I
okay,
don't want
right?
that
But
to
if like
happen. Yeah.
if they're right, you don't want them to be right? Like I don't want it to be severe weather, so you just have to be weather alert. But like I was talking about that on the show, like somebody that's in LA, if they're tracking the show for Minneapolis, they're not going to be talking about that. They're not going to be relevant with it. Maybe they might mention, hey, there's a chance for severe weather, but that's it. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't go beyond of like talking about communities and towns and different things to do and all that. So there's definitely that like local connection to radio stations that um, always has been a big thing, and it will continue obviously to be a big thing. So
And I think
hey,
also like
that's enough. There's my dogs out there. Ruff, ruff,
I
ruff.
love dogs, so it doesn't bother me. And like also when you are a real personality on the radio, like I always look forward to like seeing you at the state fair,
Right.
or like whatever events are going on. So like that's always a highlight for me. Like, hey, yeah, Zach Dillon, I do listen to him on the radio, but like he's a real person and he's standing right next to me. Like that feels good.
You mean you don't want to come see like R2D2 there and
Yeah, or
meet a
like some just
robot, get a picture
AI
of the robot?
computer, right?
Hey, taking a picture
Right.
next to a computer. This is the guy I listen to every day.
And then you, hi, I'm
Yeah.
Zach Dillon.
Yeah, no, it is, and that's one of the favorite things of mine too. Like I really enjoy that, and that I thrive in those situations of like being around people and being in front of people and all of that. Like that part of radio to me is like so important, right? Like it's funny because when people on the radio, you never know if they're like outgoing or not because there's so many people in the industry that are very like introverted, if you can believe that,
I hear
because
people
they're
say
so
that a
used
lot.
to
Yeah.
yeah, they're so used to be like being in a box, being in a studio and talking through a mic and not talking in front of someone. And so that whole thing just like scares the crap out of some people. I had a boss one time, years ago. We were doing this like nightclub gig or whatever, this bar gig. And when we would do the bar gigs, we'd go on the microphone and say, welcome everybody, obviously, and talk about all the bar deals and, beer, whatever that was going on. And so I remember he was so like deathly afraid of people seeing him talk and people
Mm.
like being in front of people that he would like literally do this. Ready? This is like the DJ booth. He would go like
Yeah.
this.
Oh no.
Hey guys, welcome on out. We got $3 Miller Lights tonight, and blah 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 blah. Thanks for coming out or whatever. It's like that's
He should have been
crazy,
like, he
right?
wanted to be like the Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the booth.
Yeah, no, but there's a lot of people like, and I'll meet people too, and I don't understand it because I'm an extrovert, and so that's why the pandemic really hurt me because like I just stay home. Like I'm not like someone that like loves to stay home. I like or being around people and being at concerts and state fair and all that stuff, and so it was really tough for me. Um, but yeah, you'd be amazed how many people don't like interaction with. Not that they don't like it; it's just uncomfortable for them.
Well, and when you're used to performing for a bunch of people who can't see you, right? When
Yeah,
they
no,
can
for
see you,
real.
it's totally different. And I think we talked about this before, but I remember when I was young, like I always wondered what Dave Ryan looked like and what Tom Bernard looked like and what
Yeah.
was her name. My parents always listened to KQRS, and was
Yeah.
it Terry Train? Like everyone was like, "Oh, she's probably so beautiful. Like, what does she look like?" No one knew, and now everyone knows what everyone looks like.
Well, yeah, because of social media, and I mean,
Yeah,
even when
so
I
it's come a long
started in
way.
radio, I started in 1998, which is crazy to think many years ago. But when I started, there was no social media, and so people never knew I was 14 when I was on the radio,
Yep.
and or 17. Got that one great story. I don't know if I ever told you this story, but I was 17, and my boss was like, just don't ever like let it out that you're 17. Like you don't sound like you're 17, so just don't talk about like young things, obviously, because
Because didn't you work for like a Cities 97 or maybe
yeah,
even
exactly.
older?
Yeah, it was. I was doing middays on this like hot adult contemporary
Yeah,
station where I grew up in Massachusetts, and I had this one woman that would call me up, and like every time
flirt
she would
with
she would
you.
call up almost every day, and every time it would be like a little bit more of flirtatious activity on her part, not mine. I
Yeah,
was just being
yeah,
nice
sure.
and
Just kidding.
well, no, because I'm so naive. I'm like 17. I'm like, and then finally she got up enough courage to ask me to come for like a barbecue or like whatever, because that's a big deal on where I grew up, like in the summer. I mean, everywhere really. You
Yeah.
barbecue and you have cookouts and stuff. And she invited me over, and she's like, hey, you should come out one time, and we're gonna have a barbecue actually this weekend, and like it'd be awesome if you could come out, and it'd be really cool, and I'd love to meet you and hang and all that. I'm like. This woman has no idea I'm 17. I mean, she
She would
was
have been
easily
mortified.
like she was easily like upper 40s. I never asked her how old she was, but she was easily upper 40s, low 50s. Not that
Well,
that's
yeah,
old, but I was 17
if
and she had no
you asked
idea.
her how old she was, then she would have asked you how old you were, and then you would have
Exactly right. I
either
didn't want
been
to get into
busted or
that.
had to lie.
I didn't want to get backed into that corner. But I never met her. I never went there because I was like, if I'm going to show up to this place, right, even if it was like kosher or whatever, she's going to not believe me that I'm got the guy on the radio. You know what I
Until she
mean? It's
hears
like,
you talk.
yeah, right. But still, she'll be like, "There's no way you're like as old as my son." You know,
She would
stuff like
she
that.
would be mortified. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
But no, that's just. But now the wonderful world of social media, people know what you look like, and like before, it would be one of those things where people would have to like hear your voice and be like, "Eh, eh, Zach, Dylan," you know.
or
Where now it's
I know your voice, I just can't pinpoint how I know it.
yeah, exactly. But now like people know who you are, so a lot like. I get seen a lot, like seen, like, oh yeah, no, but like in Target for whatever reason. Every
Yeah.
time I seem to go to Target, I'll see like somebody that's like, and half the time I'll get a message afterwards from them on social media because I check all my messages and stuff, and I try to be really good about that. But they'll be like, "I just saw you in Target in Egan or wherever. Um, you know, I was too scared or something to come up to you." I'm like, "Oh God, I hate those stories because like I'm the nicest person ever. Like I don't
Yeah.
care if you come up and say hi or whatever. Like." Sometimes it's like, oh, I saw you with your family or whatever. I didn't want to interrupt or whatever. It's like, no, just say hi.
Yeah.
It's
Or
like,
at least wave, but they probably
yeah.
know you from the show. So
But don't be
I also
awkward, just like looking, you know what I
they're
mean?
just
Just come
like, I think,
over.
yeah, like
Well,
they're
people
scared to
do
say
that at the fair
something.
too. They'll do it at the
Yeah.
fair too, where they're like standing outside the booth for like 10 minutes and I might be like in the middle of being on the radio and doing something else, but like they never come up because for whatever reason. And then they'll message me later and be like, I was too nervous or whatever. It's like, no, I'm not like, it's not like I'm Justin Timberlake. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm just Zach.
I know, but it is nerve-wracking because we feel like we know you so well because we hear you every day. And you don't know, I mean, you don't know us
But
and who
that's
we
why you
are.
should come up
I know,
because
but it's nerve-wracking because what if you, and I know this isn't true about you, Zach, because I've met you many times, but it's almost like, what if you're not everything that we build up in our mind that you are, and then we're
oh yeah,
disappointed with the
I would
interaction?
not want to let you down.
I know, and you never have, but I'm just saying, like, I think that's a
Right.
fear of a lot of us that do listen.
So they just want to keep it in their mind that I'm like the greatest person ever, and they don't want
Yeah,
anything to wreck it.
a goat. Yeah.
That's funny. We'll go with
What?
that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go with
we'll
that
go
one.
with
Yeah.
that. What kind of work does Lindsay do?
Oh, my wife. She actually years ago we decided that it would be a better deal in life if she would raise our kids because what she was a nanny.
Oh, yeah.
When I
So she's
first met
really
her.
good at raising kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that, but also
Yeah.
like the money that she would make in working would go to pay for someone else to watch
Daycare.
our kids.
Yes.
And it just didn't make any sense. It was like if she had some type of like high profile like corporate job or something like that, like then we'd figure something else out, but she didn't. And so I'm like, well, it doesn't make any sense for you to work your butt off and then make X amount of money just to send X amount of money to some daycare to have someone else raise our kids. I'd rather you
Right.
raise our kids,
Yes.
and so thankfully we were able to do that and make that work because not everybody can. And
Yeah.
obviously I know that, but so it's been great because she does an awesome job at it. And, I could never do it. Like I
No.
on vacation days and like holidays, we got Memorial Day coming up or whatever, like not that I mean I love my kids so much, but it's like I don't think I could do the stay at home dad thing. Like it's a lot. You
It's
know
a
what I mean?
lot.
And so I'm pretty grateful for her. She's pretty badass. So but she does like she has a couple of families here that she'll watch kids every once in a while for that have become friends and stuff like that. And so it's nice that her schedule is obviously flexible. The kids are in school every
Nice.
day. I mean,
Yes.
summer's coming up, so that'll be different. But so you
I
know,
always say, like, when I do my paid job, then I come home and it's even harder work. Like
Yeah.
when I come home and
And
all
you don't
that
get
work
paid
is
for it.
hard and you don't get paid. No.
Right.
So
And it's not, you're never not working as a mom.
yeah, as a woman, I mean, no offense.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
So last time I talked, oh no, this is what I was gonna say first. Speaking of Memorial Day, don't you have a birthday coming up?
No, my birthday already passed. Thanks
It
for
did.
remembering. Yeah.
It was in May though. When was it?
May the 4th be with you.
Okay. May the
Yeah.
4th be
And
with
so,
you.
funny
So
story
did you
about
go to
that.
Disney
I
to
just,
celebrate your 40th?
I just turned 40, but don't tell
I
anybody.
know you did.
That was a big birthday for me, but I wanted to do something like memorable for my 40th birthday because you only turn 40 once, right?
Yeah.
And so my wife and I were thinking about just going to, well, I was more so thinking about going to Vegas and just doing me and her thing.
But Avery wasn't having that.
No, Avery wasn't. No, because when I proposed that to Avery, I'm like, hey, mommy and dad are just going to leave for the weekend or whatever. She's like, we're not going to be able to spend your birthday with you. She didn't really love that idea. And so, anytime I get like the eyes from her, I'm like, all
She's a
right,
daddy's girl, yeah.
change course. And so we decided to go to Disney.
Yeah.
And we went to Disney World, and I wasn't even thinking about all of the
Oh,
Star Wars
Star Wars
rides.
stuff, yeah.
I decided to book. This is just random. Like I went on there's so many Walt Disney World guides and stuff that'll tell you like, hey, here's the best day to go to this park. Statistically saying, and not really actual dates. It's just like days. So I'm like, all right, well, the book tells me, or the blogs or whatever tell me that um, between Saturday and Sunday, the best day to go to Hollywood Studios is Saturday. Between Saturday and Sunday, the best day to go to Magic Kingdom is Sunday. So I'm like, perfect. Well, not the best day, but of those 2-day options. So
Yeah.
I'm like, we'll go to Hollywood Studios Saturday, and then we'll go to Magic Kingdom Sunday. And so we're literally flying down there. We check into our hotel, and I don't remember how it happened. I don't know if my wife brought it up or somebody brought it to our attention. It might have been someone that brought it to our attention because they're like, you're going to Hollywood Studios on May 4th? Are you insane? I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about it because that's where all the Star Wars rides are. Like in
Yes.
Magic Kingdom, there's no Star Wars rides. Like there's none. They wouldn't go there for that, right? But you have the Rise of the Resistance ride that's brand new. You've got Smuggler's Run. You've got Star Tours. You've got all these Star Wars rides and themed stuff inside of Hollywood
Was it
Studios.
a
And here I
nightmare?
am. What?
Was it a nightmare?
It wasn't as bad as I had predicted after someone brought this up to me. I'm like, oh, it's going to be crazy. But there were so many people that were dressed to the T of like the characters and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a complete geek fest. I'm like, this is crazy to me that people actually dress up, and it is like
Hot
hot.
as shit.
I mean, I know it's only May and it's going to get even hotter there, but like it was sweltering hot. And these people have like black on and like
No.
long robes. And I'm like, how are these people functioning right now? All for the cause, all for like, may the 4th be with you. You know what I mean? I get it. Like, people are passionate about it. But
Yes.
I mean, it was pretty crazy. If I had just selected Magic Kingdom on Saturday and then done Sunday, it would have been a little less crazy. But it
Yeah.
actually wasn't too bad. If you really figure out how to master the Genie Plus, which is the in
Fast
addition
pass.
thing that
Yeah.
you have to buy. I mean, you think
It's
Disney
worth
makes
it.
a do you think Disney makes a lot of money? I mean,
Yeah.
they charge you for your ticket, and then on top of it, now you have to pay for this Genie Plus. Oh, and by the
Yeah.
way, all the rides aren't included in the Genie Plus. So there's extra lightning lanes that you have to buy if you
Yep.
don't want to wait half your day in a line. So that was fun. But if you can master that, like before, you used to get 3 rides and you got it free with your ticket, and you'd be able to master that. Now you have to pay for the Genie Plus, and you only get 1 ride. And then so you have to like master the 1 ride each
And
time,
then
and
you
then
have to
those
figure out like what time you can go. It's not
exactly.
just get in the line. Yeah.
I know, yeah. But we did really good. We finally got to ride the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which we'd never done before because
No,
the line
yeah.
had always been super busy. But I'm like, I'm buying the pass for that. Like, we're just gonna do it. And so we got a time. We went at that time. We waited 5 minutes. We were on the ride.
Was it
Um,
great?
oh, it was awesome. Yeah,
Good.
yeah. That ride was super cool. And then finally got to ride the Slinky ride at Hollywood Studios, Slinky Dog Train, I think it's called. That was super cool too. It's a pretty cool coaster. And then the Rise of the Resistance ride is just that is so sick. Like it is. I'm not even like a big Star Wars guy. You think I would with my birthday being May 4th?
Yeah.
You think I'd be like a total geek for Star Wars? I
Well,
don't.
maybe
I
not
mean,
you, but maybe your mom. Maybe she planned to
yeah,
have a
right. Maybe
May
she
the
planned
4th
it like that. No, she. I don't think she even knows the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek.
Trek. Yeah.
Um, but
Oh,
no, I
Deborah.
mean that Rise of the Resistance ride. They did a really good job with that ride. It is so cool. We had a lot of fun. We went on the one ride we went on a ton. It's because my daughter really loved it, and it was thrilling for all of us. Was Thunder Mountain.
Yeah.
Thunder
Classic.
Mountain is a classic. Obviously, Splash Mountain wasn't open, but we went on Thunder Mountain 3 times. And so, but we did it once with the pass, and then once in between one of the rides that we were doing because it said a 25-minute wait. I'm like, 25 minutes on a weekend for
Short.
Thunder Mountain is insane. Like, that's
Yeah.
so, like, I will wait 25 minutes to ride that ride. So we went in that line for that. And then later we found another time where it said 20 minutes even. And we're like, let's go.
Get
I'm
back
like,
in.
where is everybody? This is crazy.
Did you do the Haunted Mansion?
Yeah, we did the
You
Haunted
did.
Mansion. Yep, we did
I
Haunted
like that.
Mansion. We did my favorite is Space Mountain. Like I love Space Mountain. Space Mountain to me is the best
Yeah,
ride.
it's fun.
I think it just because like in your mind you imagine it being like because you can't see it, right? It's all pitch dark. Like
Yeah.
occasionally you'll see like a light or something like that, but it's like your mind thinks it's going 100 miles an hour, and it's actually one of the slower roller
Yeah.
coasters at. It's like it goes 10 miles an hour slower than Thunder Mountain. I'm like, what? This thing
Doesn't
is
feel like
going like, foo,
that
foo,
mental
foo, foo.
illusion.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I tried to tell. So with my daughter, she was really cautious about riding Space Mountain. She didn't really want to ride it. She's just like, because of the darkness, right? Like it
Yeah.
is scary for someone that is not used to that ride. And so, I think as a kid, I didn't even ride that ride. So like, I totally get it. But what I tried to do for her was show her the ride with the lights on. You can go on YouTube and you can see the
Oh,
ride and what it looks like with the lights on. I'm like, look, it really like because she was worried about it going upside down and that type of thing. I'm like, it doesn't even
I
go upside
suppose.
down. It literally, you can watch it with the lights on. You can see the whole track of what it does, and you can see it is actually not that fast, right? Because you get the lights and all that. Like it's
Yeah.
not that fast. You'll be fine. And so you've ridden Space Mountain, right?
Yeah.
So it's a 3-seater,
Yeah.
right? So you got one person up front, and it's single seat. So it's one person, one person, one person. So my son rode in the front. My daughter was in the middle. I was in the back, so I could hold on to her.
Okay.
So I did one of those things where it's like, even though she's buckled in and it's safe and all that, like just my hand on her for the comfort,
Yes. Yes.
especially because she was so uneasy. But I was like holding on to her or whatever. So I didn't truly get to enjoy the ride because I was more worried about like she was
Yeah.
freaking out about it. Um, but we made it through the ride. She got off the ride. I'm like, you did it! Like you did it! This is great! Like, how did you like it? Bawling her eyes out.
Why?
Bawling her eyes out. She didn't
She was
love it.
scared?
It was
She was still
scary.
scared?
It was scary for
Oh.
her. But
She did the
with
Haunted Mansion and she's scared of
I
Space
know.
Mountain? I don't get that.
Well, so the Haunted Mansion. I mean, it's to me, it's not. I mean, I could see
That drop is terrifying to me.
for the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, I'm serious. I don't like that feeling, that free fall feeling.
No, you're talking about Hollywood. You're talking about Tower of Terror.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I'm like,
Did
there's
she...
no drop in Haunted Mansion. What are you
Tower of
drinking? Are you
Terror. That's
drinking?
what I am. A Diet
Did you
Mountain Dew.
drink before this podcast?
No, that's
Um,
unfortunately that's just how I am.
no, but the Haunted Mansion is a great
Okay,
ride.
so then I'm thinking of the Tower of Terror. Did she go
The,
on that?
no, she would not go
Okay,
on that.
okay. Then I
No,
feel that's better then.
no,
That's
she
fine.
did not go on the Haunted Mansion. I went on it with my son because he wanted to do it, and so somebody had to stay back with Avery, so my wife stayed back. But the funny story about that ride is that we found a time where it was only 25 minutes or 30 minutes, I guess, in the middle of the day, and we're like, all right, let's go ride it, and then they can just hang out for a little bit. We'll be right back. So we go, and then we're like 10 minutes into the line, the loudspeaker while you're in line was like, hey, just so you know, half of our elevators aren't working right now. And so only half the amount of people are going in. We're still letting people in, but that may alter your wait time. And I'm like, oh God, what is it going to alter it to? 110 minutes. It went from
No.
20, it went from 25 or 30 minutes to 110 minutes. Now, what did it end up being? Because we were already 10 minutes into the line for us. It ended up being about 55 minutes. So it
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
like 110. Like, I think the people that were just starting out were going to get 110, right, because of the delay, but we were already deep into it that it didn't affect us as much as the other people. But yeah, that ride's so cool. It is. You're right though. Like the unknown and I
Yeah.
mean, you're just butterflies galore on that ride. You know what I mean? It's cool. My son loved it. I'm glad that we did it. I'm glad that we stuck through it because there was a point when they said 110 minutes. I'm like, buddy, like I love you, man. Like I
Because
want to
then
go on this
Avery
ride.
and Lindsay are waiting
Well,
for you.
yeah, I'm like, we can't
And,
leave them for 2 hours.
right.
Like they're just doing nothing. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
have, by the way, I have all the cards for the rides. Like I have all the
Yes.
fast passes. Like they can't even go on a ride if they
No.
want. They'd have to wait. So anyways, it was nice that it moved a little bit quicker than we thought. But yeah, he loved it. I'm glad that we stuck through it and did it. And that was one of his favorite rides. Ended up being one of his favorite rides. So
I have two more things for you.
yeah, what do you got?
How was your Florida trip with your friend? That was like a quick 2-dayer.
Yeah,
Or
my
did you go
friend
for
Kyle.
baseball?
He's such a great dude. And we've done a baseball trip before. Actually, during the pandemic, we snuck away to California and did a little weekend away and saw some baseball and stuff. It always it revolves around baseball. It's funny because I have an ultimate goal of going to all the parks eventually, and
Oh,
so
all the baseball.
all the baseball parks, yeah, yeah. And so I've been to about half of them. So I still have a ways to go, but like anytime that we do a trip, it's like it involves baseball. He's not even like the biggest baseball fan, but he likes to go to the games.
Fun,
And,
yeah.
we enjoy the time together of just having like a little guys trip. It's never for too long. I think it was gone for like
Yeah. You told me
72.
Lindsay was like, if you're going, you're only going for 2 nights or something like that.
Just because like I didn't want to like dig into a lot of my vacation time and all that just
Yeah.
going a guy's trip. You know what I mean? That'd be kind of selfish. But it was great. It was we went to spring training. I had never gone. Well, I shouldn't say never. When I was in college, we went to Florida for my own college baseball team when I was playing baseball, and we went to a spring training game while we were down there, a Phillies game, but that was so many years ago, and I don't even count that, right? Because I can't even remember it. So this time we went to a Astros game because I'm an Astros fan, but also a Twins game, which was on the other side of the state.
That's
Because
right. Yeah.
like if you look at all the parks, like there's a map of Florida, and then you can see all the different parks of all the different. There's 15 teams that have spring training down there, and
Yeah.
so it's all from like the East Coast part of the state, from like here to here, and then you have to travel over the West Coast, and then it's Fort Myers and like a bunch of places over here. And so we did a little bit of driving and stuff, and it was a super quick trip, but beautiful weather, and it was cool to go down and see the Twins play. And of course, we picked the day when like nobody you knew of the Twins was playing. It was like one guy. We're like, oh, I know that name. The other guys are like, who in the world is this guy? But
And
maybe
didn't
see
they
him.
start out like the season really good? Like, didn't they win the first 12 games or something like that?
I don't think they won the first 12 games. They were on a 12-game win streak. Kelly,
Okay.
thank you for attempting to pay attention to baseball, Kelly.
I do try.
They were on a 12-game win streak at one point. What happened was the White Sox are like the worst team in baseball, the Chicago White Sox, and so they came to town, and that was like I think 4 of the 12 wins. But they won the Twins won every game against them, and then they just rattled off 8 more wins against other
Yeah.
opponents. So it was pretty cool. I mean, it is the reason why they have a winning record at this point, but it's still like the season's so long. It's 162 games.
It is a long
And
season.
so
Yeah.
I think they're like 40 something games in right now. So they still have 120 plus games to go. I mean, it's like you could be 20 games above 500 right now and still not make the playoffs at the end of the year. You know what I mean? Injuries
Crazy.
and just
Yes.
all the different variables that happen in between now and then. I mean, think about it. It's like what other season goes as long as baseball does? You start in
None.
February with spring training, but the regular season starts late March, early April,
Growing
and
up.
it goes all the way. If you make the playoffs, you're playing into early November.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
That's crazy. Do you go to Saints games?
I haven't been in a couple of years.
Oh,
They're
they're so
fun
fun.
though. When I
Yeah,
when I
they're
go to
fun.
them, it's a lot of fun, and you can get like a ticket for like $10.
And that new
And
stadium is so nice.
yeah, no, and I've been to that stadium, and we did a thing there. It was called Wiffle Wars.
Oh, fun.
And my buddy Paul Fletcher, who's the morning guy on Cities 97.1, he started Wiffle Wars in his backyard years
Okay.
ago. And it was never for like a purpose other than getting a bunch of guys together and hitting wiffle balls, and
Yeah.
like playing a tournament.
Everyone loves
Um,
doing that.
But this was a little bit different when we brought it to CHS Field, was that we were going to do it for a cause. And then we were going to get like celebrity people to play on the team. Like we had Zach Parisi one year play, and variety of different people, former baseball players, Joe Mauer, Justin Morneau, like Minnesota people that people know, and they came out and played wiffle ball with us, and so
Fun.
we did it at that field. It's a beautiful park. I think I need to go again this year. It is cool now that the Saints are actually the AAA team of the Twins, because it wasn't
Oh yeah,
that
I
way
knew about that.
before.
Yeah.
When Byron Buxton, because he's always hurt, when he gets hurt, he goes down and he'll do his games now at the Saints.
That's awesome.
Before he would go somewhere else. I forget where their AAA team was before, but it's like right down the road in St. Paul. Now you can go see like all the guys make their rehab starts,
Yeah.
and then they make it back to the Twins, and they drive like 10 miles, and they're in the Twins. So that part's cool, because now it makes the Saints a little bit more, not credible or relevant or whatever, but like more exciting to
Puts them
watch,
on
right?
puts them on the map for other people too that maybe
Yeah,
aren't as in
exactly.
tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not like an independent league with a bunch of guys that you've never heard of. It's like, no, I mean, a lot of the guys that are future Twins players are playing every night at CHS Field. A lot of players that are in between are playing every night at CHS. So it's cool.
And the Wolves, I know you've been watching all the Wolves games.
Yeah. I mean, truth be told, I'm not the biggest basketball fan, just in general.
We're that's what our sport is here, is basketball. So it's been an exciting year for us.
I enjoy the excitement around the Wolves, and I've been to Wolves games, and they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Even when they're a bad team, it's a lot of fun to go and enjoy a game, right? But now they're good, and so
that
now
was a nail biter of a game the other night.
That was awesome. I mean,
I was howling in my living room. I was
Well, yeah. What's crazy is that you start that series out on the road and you win both games, right?
Yes.
And then you come home with all the confidence in the world, and then you lose 3 straight. And it's like, what are we doing here? You're at home. Like, how are we losing?
Yeah.
And then, they rattle off 2 wins in a row and then win the whole thing, now tomorrow night, well, by the time this comes out, it'll be whatever happened. But, Western Conference Finals, right? They've never won the Western Conference Finals.
No.
So there's a good chance that they could, not on jinx anything, but like the Dallas Mavericks, to me, aren't any better than that Denver Nuggets team that we just played. That team's better than that. But again, it's the playoffs. You can't really look at stats, because stats don't mean anything. People get hot. Like Anthony Edwards needs to stay hot. Like all those guys are just playing really well together right now. And it's cool to see. Like Minnesota teams don't normally win. And so they're winning.
We get excited.
All the bandwagon fans and all the excitement.
I've never seen so much Wolves apparel in public as I have this past week.
Well, and now that new quote, "bring you ass," right?
Yes.
Like, that's on shirts already and hoodies and all that stuff. It's like, it's crazy. It's fun.
All right, Zach, last thing I want to tell you is it was really exciting for me when it was your first day on Cities 97 and you were like, hey, if you're listening, call me and support me. And I was at work and I'm like, should I call Zach? And they're like, sure, like whatever, he's not going to answer or talk to you. And then you knew who I was, and that was so fun. And they were all like, I remember you calling. That was very nice of you calling. I didn't know the backstory behind it, but now I do. But I was like, hey, Zach, it's Kelly. And you were like, Kelly!
Yeah. At least I wasn't like, who?
No.
Wait, explain how I know you?
And then you were like, we got to do the podcast. And so then they knew it wasn't bullshit. So that was great.
Well, and what's crazy is that, truth be told, and people don't know this, but like before I switched over to Cities, we had done a podcast together. And then the new change happened. And I'm like, well, why don't we do a new episode, just because that info is kind of irrelevant now and not accurate, right? Like I'm not actively on KDWB every day. We're not, I'm not doing the afternoon show anymore. So let's do a whole new one, and then we can have fun again, right? Because it was an hour last time. It's almost an hour now, and it's great. So I appreciate you accommodating that.
I appreciate you accommodating me.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to do this again.
Yeah, for sure. Things just keep on it. We should do like a live thing at the fair.
I like that. Now here's the thing about the fair for me is I have to figure out what that looks like for me.
Yeah.
Because before, KDWB is obviously out there, and we're on the other side of KFan. So it's like
Yep.
KFan in the booth on that side, then KDWB, and then K102 is out there. Those are our 3 radio stations that we have out there actively.
Oh,
There's no
Cities 97 isn't out there?
there's no Cities 97 out there
Oh,
right now. And so I don't know
you
if
got to make
anything's
that
going to
happen.
change for that, but still technically on KDWB. Maybe I make a couple of appearances.
Okay.
I think we're all kind of trying to figure out what it's going to look like and how it's all going to
And
work. And
you need
that's creeping up, though.
a Zach Dillon T-shirt at the fair.
I
It needs to
know.
happen. I've been
I
telling
know.
you.
We had one last year. It was with
Yeah,
Fallon too. It was like
I
Fallon and
wore it.
Zach.
Remember, I wore the shirt last time.
Tequila.
Yeah,
I
and then
love
you told me the
tequila.
story about Lake Patrol.
Yes. That story about Lake Patrol is epic. Which I hope
was
also
good.
I'll be able to do one of the Lake Patrols this year too.
Oh, okay, good.
It's
See,
just
that's kind
finding
of nice having your feet in both boats.
well, I know. I mean,
Yeah.
it is good. So, but we're making a big announcement tomorrow about Live at the Lake.
Okay.
So by the time this comes out, the announcement will be out. But hint, hint, since by the time this comes out, the announcement will be out. But I'm hosting all of them this summer. So I'll be the host.
Yeah, you can tell me because, like you said,
right. I mean, you're
by the
not
time
going to
everyone
release
else
this
hears
yet.
this.
But yeah, I'll be hosting all the Live at the Lakes, and they'll be throughout the Twin Cities at different, areas like
Fun.
Maynard's and,
Fun.
it's going to be awesome. So they're going to be pretty much every Wednesday starting in June. And they'll go through July and the beginning part of August. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. Live at the Lake, hosted by me, Zach Dillon. It's gonna be great. I hope to see you at one of them.
Yes, I love that. I'm excited.
It's free music. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? And
Why
beautiful
wouldn't you?
days right on the water. And
love it.
Let's go.
Let's go. Zach, I'm gonna let you spend the rest of your night with your family.
Well, thank you.
And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And I'll see you soon, and we'll do this again.
I like it. Thank you,
All
Kelli.
right.
Take care of yourself.
See you later. Bye-bye.
All right. See ya.